Okay, so it looks like I couldn't share my screen, so we're just going to go to take two. So this is what is going to come up for your next assignment after the Bridge to Terabithia, and it's the classic fairy tales. So the book we're going to be using is going to be this book here, and it was in the syllabus. It's classic fairy tales, but this is the only time you're going to be using this book throughout the class. So if you don't have it, you can get it pretty cheap. I bought mine on Thrift Books for $4. But if you cannot find it and can't find somebody to share it with or somebody to talk to, or you can't check it out from the library, let me know. I can scan some of these pages up to a PDF, and then you can read them that way. It might just take a little bit. It might be a little bit harder to do that, but I would rather have you read it on the PDF on a scanned version than not be able to get this assignment done. So the classic fairy tales is going to be the next one up after the Bridge to Terabithia, and the ones are in red. If you notice, like right here, 1 through 6, this is what's going to be in the discussion box for week 4. So like not this week. Week 3, we're going to do chapter 2 in our textbook. Week 4 is going to be this whole idea of fairy tales. I'm just giving you this a preview so you can kind of see what's coming on, what's going on next. So you're going to read fairy tales, and you're going to look at them in a view you may have not have heard of before. So we grew up with the Disney type fairy tales, right? The Cinderellas and the Snow Whites and all that kind of stuff. Well, if you've actually read classic fairy tales, they are a lot different than Disney fairy tales. And even if you look at, the Grimm fairy tales, they're pretty different. So that's what we're going to be doing, is we're going to be reading classic fairy tales and then comparing them to the ones that we know in today's age. So the red part is going to be in the discussion. They have links here. The Roald Dahl version of Red Riding Hood is pretty funny. The Lan Po Po, that's the Chinese version of Little Red Riding Hood. And we're going to be thinking about what are they different, how are they alike, versus what the traditional classic fairy tale was. So that's in our discussion post. But our next assignment is going to be here in purple. And so this is what's going to be in Blackboard. So you're going to read a fairy tale of your choice from the text, which is this book here, that's been made into a film. So Beauty and the Beast, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, Little Mermaid. And we're going to watch the movie, and we're going to make a compare and contrast paper. If you choose that you do not want to watch the movie, totally fine. If you would rather, right here, it says if you don't want to watch a film, you may do the assignment based on 2 versions of the same fairy tale from your text, which would be this and another version of that fairy tale. Completely fine. And if you're unfamiliar on how to write a comparison and contrast essay, I have a link right in here to the OWL, and it'll kind of give you what we're looking for as the similarities and differences of those 2 things. So that's going to be the discussion, or that's going to be the assignment for the fairy tale part of it, the classic fairy tales. Now, if you are using the first version, first edition of this book, the page numbers are a little bit different. So up here, this is the version, I think this is the 2nd or 3rd version, page numbers up here. If you happen to get the first version of this, not a big deal. The page numbers are just a little bit different, and that's why they're on there. Okay. So the next thing I was going to share with you is the traditional literature genre. This was a pretty great website I'm going to share with you. It's called libguides.com, and it talks about the different fairy tale or the different genres of classic children's literature. And the one that we haven't really touched on and probably won't touch on a lot in this class is this right over here. And I had to look up how to pronounce this word. Does anybody know how to pronounce that word? It's French. Let me show you. Come on over here.
Pourquoi?
Did you hear that? Try that again.
Pourquoi?
Pourquoi. It means why. So in this right here, it's telling us like there is different children's literature to explain different reasons. You know, how the leopard got its claws, how the guinea fowl got her spots. And I'm sure you probably have heard this one on the bottom here, why mosquitoes buzz in people's ears, a spider in the sky. And so this would be a whole different kind of exciting thing to teach in your classrooms about different cultures on why things happen in our nature. And there's definitely a lot of Native American stories about that, of why some things happen, and it's just kind of interesting. So that could be a definite part of the traditional children's lit too, on top of the folk tales and the fairy tales and such. So I wanted to share that with you as well. So we are going to be closing for the week, and like I said, if you have any questions at all or have comments, questions about what we're doing, please let me know, and we'll take care of that as soon as we can. If you go to the content part of our, let's go back right now. If you go to the content part of our page in Blackboard, I did open up a video series down here. Now, if you click on this video series, there's probably going to be, I don't know, 30 maybe different books being read by another instructor, and these are all books that you can use for your annotated bibliography. So she has clear ones if they are award winners. The reason why this is a semi-award winner, award winner. So if you want to start using those for your annotated bibliography, you could definitely use those. Any ones that this instructor uses and in here is totally appropriate. Any one that I've given you before on the Storyline Online, that's totally appropriate. Those are books, I mean, if you don't have access to a lot of children's books, those are an easy way to get them and to find out what they're all about. It's always best to kind of know what you're getting yourself into, instead of just whipping out a book with a room full of kids and you haven't read the book before. So it's good to have that background because you just don't know what you're getting yourself into otherwise. So that's a new thing that's come that I have opened up on our content area for the page. All right, so that's it for this week. So let me know if you have any questions, and I will talk to you next week. See ya.